Let me know if you've been through this situation. You tell yourself, hey, I'm done with gambling, I'm done with drinking, I'm done with smoking. And you decide to take action. You say, that was my last drink, that was my last bet, that was my last smoke. And you move forward in your life. You power through that first day, you're feeling great. Then, the second day, you start to feel a little bit worse. And by the end of the third day, you're actually ending up back gambling, drinking, or smoking because you've already forgotten about why you want to quit. The negative memories fade out really, really fast. And today I want to talk about ways that you can navigate the first 100 days getting clean from your addiction so that you're able to successfully do so. Because I really struggled with that. And I want to help you to get there a little bit faster than I did. My name's Rob. I'm a recovering compulsive gambler. And I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022. Since then, I made it my mission to come online and teach you how to get clean from a gambling addiction and do it faster than I did. If you're ready to leave the chaos of addiction behind and live a happier and healthier life in recovery, then smash that subscribe button, because that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about how to do today. There were 4 things that I needed to be doing that I hadn't really considered any other time that I was recovering. The very first thing is that I had to find alternatives for my time. So I think that the first time around, the main problem that I had when I tried to quit gambling was that I had no alternatives for my time, my energy, my thoughts, or just no alternatives at all. And so I think that what was really important for me was to figure out what I enjoyed doing that I could substitute in. We're not going to get that same thrill that we got from what our addiction was. If you quit drinking and you want to get that big thrill of a night out, it might not feel the same way it felt with the drink. If you want to quit gambling, then you might not feel that thrill of a jackpot anymore. But what's on the other side is a more peaceful life. And I don't know about you, but I've had enough days where I ended up going into debt because of my gambling that I'm ready to give it up and live a happier life without it. Now, I might not get that thrill anymore, and that's going to be okay, because it's just not natural to feel that way, and it's something that's going to make your life worse. The highs are not worth the lows. Think about that. When I quit this last time around, and I've been clean for almost a year now from my gambling, what actually started to work was that I found alternatives for my time. Now, for me, it's mainly making this content. I really enjoy talking about gambling addiction recovery. I like helping people to get into recovery, and it's something that gives me a lot of joy. It also helps me in my own recovery because I now spend between 6 and 8 hours a day working on this channel. And if I'm doing that, I'm not gambling. Now, is it as thrilling as winning that great parlay or that jackpot? No, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it is. But every day I post something here on YouTube, I post something on TikTok and Instagram, and that makes me feel good. I have a track record now of success. I have a portfolio of things to show for my time. That's not something that I got from gambling. So I think the overall takeaway here is that you need to find time for activities that involve delayed gratification. Do things that will make you feel good in the future, not necessarily in the moment. Do I always want to sit and record? Not necessarily. But do I love creating these videos and seeing the impact that my channel has? Yes, I really love it. And it gives me meaning, it fills my time, and it makes me happy. So, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment, something like going to the gym, having a workout, going for a walk, doing yoga, meditating, all of these things are a better use of your time and are going to leave you better off in the future. The second thing that I needed to focus on, and is very, very important within the first 100 days off your addiction, especially with a gambling addiction, is the idea that we need to manage our resources better. We need to allocate our money so it's not tempting us to go back to the bet. For me, that meant having my family members, having my mother and father manage my bank account. I actually dramatically cut up my debit card and threw it away. I think I told the bank that I lost it, but in reality, I made a huge scene, drama, whatever you want to call it, and I gave them the login to my online banking. I did this because I was always someone who gambled online, and so separating myself from access to that money led me to a better situation because I wasn't tempted to spend something that I couldn't access. Now, when it comes to another addiction like a drinking or drugs or smoking, all of these are enabled by spending money as well, so you might be able to use this takeaway also. But the idea is that if we're having someone keep us accountable and manage our finances, we're going to end up being more responsible because we have to tell the truth. As addicts, that's something that we struggled with in the past. I can assure you that. I was someone who lied consistently, and the fact that I was lying was a result of me wanting to continue gambling. So now in recovery, I've made it a major focus of mine to be honest. And since I've done that financially and emotionally, life's gotten better. But getting rid of that immediate temptation is so key, especially early on when you're feeling strong urges. Those urges are going to fade away. Your urge to smoke, to drink, to gamble, whatever it might be. But you have to give your brain the chance to adapt and have itself reset back to the normal levels of cravings and dopamine that it had before you started your addiction. The third thing that you need to focus on, and this one's gambling specific, but you might be able to draw parallels to other addictions, is the limiting of the access to gambling. So in the gambling world, you can do what's called a self-exclusion, which is voluntarily telling the casino, hey, I don't want to play here anymore, so don't allow me to play here anymore. Then you can get something installed on your computer by companies such as GamBan, GamStop, or GamBlock, and they can block gambling apps and websites from being downloaded. That goes for your phone and your laptop. These are great things. Now, the entire intention behind this is to make it as difficult as possible. You're always going to be able to access gambling, drinking, smoking, whatever it is, if you want it badly enough. The intention is to make it so that it's more difficult, so that you give yourself the time to think about the decision. People will say something like, I'll never get GamBan because it doesn't keep me from gambling. Well, you have to want to stop gambling to stop gambling. There's over 4,000 websites that you can go right now and start gambling. So you need to be aware of the fact you're always going to have access to the bet. But as you put that distance between you and the thing that's going to be your major temptation, you're giving your body and mind the chance to think about the decision you're about to make. If it takes you 15 minutes to get on a gambling website compared to 15 seconds, that's going to make a major impact on your ability to stay clean. So making it as difficult as possible, no matter what your addiction is the absolute key. And the fourth thing that you should be focusing on, especially, and I mean especially in the first 100 days when you're navigating your addiction recovery journey, is to go to group meetings consistently. I thought I could do it on my own. I thought, I'm the greatest. I can figure this out. I'm very smart. I'm capable. And while I might be smart, while I might be capable, this is a very insidious disease. Addiction is very hard to understand. And I think that what we need to recognize is that we've been making the mistakes on our own. So why should we expect that it's going to get better on our own? We need to change something that we're doing dramatically to live a happier life. For me, that was to start to put trust into others. So I started going to group meetings. I started going to 12-step support group meetings, and I got a lot out of it. I learned different coping mechanisms that were working for them to stay clean from my addiction, as well as learning just a little bit more about my own story. Because when you go to a group meeting, you have to reflect, you have to be honest, and you have to tell your story. When you do that, you recognize the reasons why you need to be clean and why this is such a bad thing in your life. Because if you're not constantly reminding yourself of, I need to stay away from this because it's going to ruin me, eventually you're going to get those thoughts like, why am I even staying away from gambling? Is it even that bad? Why am I even stopping drinking? I wasn't that bad. But once you remind yourself, once you reflect on a regular basis, it is a great step in the right direction to recognizing that that part of your life is over. And if you go back to it, it's only going to end up going badly. So let me just summarize real quick the 4 things that you should focus on during your first 100 days in the recovery process for any addiction. Time. Find alternatives for your time and your thoughts. Money. Find a way to limit your access to the resources that are going to tempt you back into your addiction. Access. Find a way to put some space between you and the addiction, whether it's self-exclusions in gambling or maybe going out of your way to drive away from a bar that you used to go to. And 4, going to group meetings. When you start to talk to other people who are struggling with the same problems as you, you develop new coping mechanisms, learn new tools, as well as reflect on your own journey. And all of that is incredibly valuable at helping you to stay clean and start to become someone who wants to do less of what you were previously addicted to. Hope that you found this video informative. These are the 4 things that I use on a regular basis now, even though it's more than 100 days into my recovery. But really focus on these things, and I truly believe that you're going to be happier and healthier. But remember that all of this happens one day at a time.